Hello everybody, welcome to my channel, welcome back if you're new. You're probably thinking, looking at the title, why? You're probably thinking no one cares. However, I care. And therefore, today what we're doing is we are tier ranking famous influential psychologists, right?
Clap if you care.
Let me explain. I can't really explain why I'm doing this. I can explain how it works. So basically what I've done is I've done IB psychology, undergrad psychology, most of undergrad psychology, and I also teach A-level psychology. So like, I know psychology, I guess. And basically I've picked out people that I think are influential, people that I think are kind of important. And then what I did is I Googled like influential psychologists. So some of these I've not really heard of. I wouldn't consider them up there, but I thought we'll bulk up my ranking a little bit more. First, we will go through who I am ranking, then I will explain the tiers, then I will explain the top trumps I've made. So, I'm ranking people, I've sorted them into the disciplines of psychology. I've ignored health psychology because I'm not gonna lie, I don't know anyone from health psychology that's relevant. So basically we've got clinical, developmental, social, cognitive, and then other. So in clinical, we have Beck, Aaron Beck, then we have Sigmund Freud, we then have Carl Rogers. Developmental, we have Piaget, bowlby, vygotsky, my guy Lev. Social, we then have bandussy, tajfel, milgram, zimbardo. Cognitive, we then have baddely, loftus, and kahneman. And then other, we have wundt, Pavlov, and Skinner. Because I wasn't really sure where Pavlov and Skinner go. I don't know if behaviorism is social or cognitive. So Wundt is kind of like father of psychology, so where does he go? Not sure. Oh, I also have Anna Freud, because my friend told me to do Anna Freud, and I was like, I'm not gonna lie, I don't know who that is. But turns out Sigmund Freud had a baby, and she was a lesbian. Let's go lesbians.
Let's go! Let's go lesbians, let's go!
I've gone on tier maker and I've made a tier ranking thing. Let me explain my tiers. At the top, Barbie, Princess and the Pauper. Okay, I know what you're thinking. That's clearly the best thing ever. Because right, Barbie, Princess and the Pauper was influential. It led to Princess and the Pop Star. Princess Adventure has the same premise. It was gorgeous, it was influential, it was everyone's childhood. Like, we still passionately remember it. So kind of top tier, everlasting impact, we will forever be grateful, also one of the best things to ever exist. We then have Lady Gaga Meat Dress, because I feel like that was influential, like, but it wasn't that influential. No one's tried to replicate the Lady Gaga Meat Dress that's been relevant. You know, we've not had much discourse, I guess, on the Lady Gaga Meat Dress since it happened. It was kind of meat dress, move on. We then have the mid tier, which I really struggled to think of something that was kind of just mid. I just put Partial Slay. Like, you know, they were along the right lines, they had an okay premise, but it wasn't Lady Gaga Meat Dress, it wasn't that influential. We then have Sparkling Water. Don't know if this is a controversial opinion, but why would you drink sparkling water when plain water exists? We then have the bottom tier, which is the Lost season finale. Basically doesn't provide any answers. You know, maybe had an impact, but like, we pretend it didn't happen. I pretend I do not see, it's not for me. I just pretend that Lost didn't have a sixth season. It didn't finish because it was answered so poorly. I then need to go to my top trumps, which I made of them. And let me just say, I think these are phenomenal. I think I've done an incredible job. So let me give you an example, and we'll start with the example of Aaron Beck. First of all, brains is the background, psychology, obviously. We've then got their name, we've got a picture. They were all kind of crusty men though, so, you know, we've got their name, we've got what they kind of did. So like, you know, Beck was the father of CBT. You know, he created the Beck Depression Inventory. That's kind of his characteristics, that's why we would know of him. We've then got their ranking out of 100 on logic. So, you know, 100 that was actually a really logical idea, like it was the logical next step in psychology. 10 is like, where did that come from? I'm looking at you, Freud. Influence is then like, how heavily did it influence today's life and other psychology? As in, maybe, you know, Freud, he was heavily influential. Like, he had no logic, but the influence was unmatched. We then have the importance. Like, could we survive without their concept? Do we need their concept? Kind of, could someone else have done it better, essentially? And then we've just got the sleigh. Like, how good of an idea was it? For example, like Freud, zero logic, but Sleigh 100, he absolutely girl-bossed everything. It wasn't logical, but I was picking up what he was putting down. I think the logical place to start is Wundt. Wundt is kind of, you know, father of psychology. I don't know, I think he looks like Charles Darwin. I basically said he was main father of psychology, but kind of useless though. Like, did we need him? So like logic 90, you know, it made sense to go into a lab, because why would you just be like, yeah, that makes sense, let me just not test it, let me just say, yeah, great plan. Influence though, it is 100. He did, you know, he did influence psychology. We wouldn't have labs. We probably would have got to labs eventually, because behaviourists would have got their shit together and stopped researching on dogs. But influence, he influenced. However, importance, 10. Like, I think we would have got there anyway. And I don't think he's an important person in psychology. As in, like, you learn about him in A-level. We didn't do him in the IB, quite frankly, because he was irrelevant. And like in uni, I think we did about 3 seconds of him. And then Sleigh, I've given him a 40. Like, he tried, okay? He made the attempt, he put us into labs. But that was all he did. That was all he did. He did not much. Like, as much as he's kind of the father of psychology, he's not my father. Like, I wouldn't, you know, he's not my number one. I feel like he could be a Lady Gaga meat dress. I feel like, you know, someone else could have Lady Gaga meat dressed. Someone else could have got there, you know, just a couple of years after him. He was influential, he was important, but we didn't need the Lady Gaga meat dress. You know, we were fine without the Lady Gaga meat dress. Let's now maybe we'll do some behaviourism, because kind of logical next step are boys. So let's do Pavlov. Pavlov, king of classical conditioning. He was like, oh my God, if you put two things together, you might associate them. Great logic. Incredible. But anyone could have done it again. I also just put, he loved dogs. Why did behaviourists hate humans? Discuss. His logic, I've given him a 60, okay? Because his plan, his theory of, you know, classical conditioning, good job. Well thought out. The not taking the next step to classical condition humans, why? Why didn't you go that step further? Influence, I've given him a 50. You know, we kind of care about classical conditioning for things like phobias. We kind of care about classical conditioning for like other things. We know it exists, we know it's relevant, but it's not the most influential psychological concept. Like, I think I probably would have got through the last 2 years of my degree without learning about Pavlov. Like, I wouldn't have needed to. Importance though, a 70. He is kind of, I feel like anyone behaviourist, even if they were dumb, was important, because it was kind of like the first scientific psychology. It was the first like, oh my God, we should get in a lab, girls, let's go. Sleigh, I've given him a 60. He really went ham on those dogs. He thought, oh my God, he thought, you know what's a logical thing? Let's see if I can make dogs salivate at a bell. Where was the logic? But also, he kind of slayed that. He kind of did good. But, you know, he's not wundt. I feel like he could be a partial sleigh, but he could also be a sparkling water, because we don't need him. Is this going to be controversial? Am I going to be controversial with ranking psychologists? I think he could be a sparkling water. I feel like Pavlov isn't that important. Like, he's not for me. We've then got B.F. Skinner. He basically then just thought, Pavlov, what you've done is great, but I'm going to do it better.
Oh shit, here we go again.
He then did operant conditioning, which is basically like the learning through reinforcement, and this then influenced King Bandura. And he was like, oh my God, if someone says don't do that, and like you get shot for doing it, you're probably not going to do it again. Logic, 70, unmatched, incredible, very logical. Great thinking, but also like Why didn't someone else get there first? I've also just said that he is better than Pavlov. I don't know if that's controversial, but like, he is rats. Great job. Rats are closer to us biologically than dogs, I'm pretty sure. Like, animal ethics and psychology, I think he did good. Influence, 60. You know, he's kind of same level as Pavlov in that like, he had influence for like phobias, but then I don't think anything else. However, same importance. Like, Skinner and Pavlov are the same people in psychology. You do not need to be able to differentiate them at all. I, in my degree, have never had to really mention Skinner or Pavlov. Like, we need to be aware that they did stuff, but have I ever used them in an essay? Have I ever used them to back anything up? No. Slay, I've then given him 30 because he was too logical to slay. Like, he just put rats in a box and he was like, press a button. That's a bit boring. The whole dog salivation thing was kind of cooler. So I feel like if we put Pavlov in sparkling water, see, because I feel like Skinner did better. So I feel like Skinner, he might go in partial slay, but he's not much above Pavlov. You know, he tried, but he's not significantly above, right? We are now going to do clinical. So we've got Aaron Beck. Aaron Beck is like CBT father. He was like, girlies, the reason you're depressed is your cognitions are absolutely whack. We should probably do something to fix those cognitions. He then also created the Beck Depression Inventory, which I think they still use today. I don't know. Would it tell me I'm depressed? Probably. Great job. So I said logic, 90. Unmatched. He thought this through. He was like, if you're depressed because of your thoughts, maybe we should try and like restructure those thoughts. Incredible job, sir. Influence, 95. I feel like we all know Beck. CBT is like the most basic therapy. We are all aware of CBT. If you've done psychology, you probably know who Beck is. So we're all aware. Importance though, I've given him a 50 because CBT isn't actually that good. In my opinion, like there is a lot of research that says that CBT is good. However, CBT can improve your symptoms without actually making you better because CBT doesn't really tackle the root cause. It just says like, babe, if you're still stressed, just like, don't be. It also doesn't work on us neurodivergent queenies. So yeah, I've then given him slay 50 because great job, he wanted to help out the depressed girlies. But what about the other ones? What about the neurodivergent depressed girlies? So I feel like Beck, maybe he's Lady Gaga meat dress. I was gonna say partial slay, but he did create CBT. Like we wouldn't have got maybe DBT without CBT. He really started us up there. We will then look at Sigmund Freud. Everyone knows Freud, right? Freud is the one that was like, you wanna have sex with your parents. The reason you're scared of your dad is because you want to sleep with your mum. The reason you're scared of your mum is because you want to sleep with your dad.
She's got a point.
What I've said is, he created psychoanalysis. That was great. Incredible job, guys. It makes a lot of sense that like what you experience in your childhood would affect you in adulthood. Could I have some psychoanalysis? However, I said he was obsessed with weird sexual fantasies of children. Why did he care so much about, he was little Hans, wasn't he? Like little Horschlong. Did we need that? Did we need that? Like, logic 30. Psychoanalysis, all of the logic from this, right, comes from psychoanalysis. The whole weird sexual fantasies thing, what was he on? Does that make any logical sense as the next step in psychology for us to be like, oh my god, maybe the reason I'm angry is because I want to sleep with my mum, and maybe that's why I resent my father. I don't get it. However, influence 100. Everyone knows Freud. We all know who he is. We all know, we know that he's that weird sexual guy. Like, we are all aware.
This guy's fucking nuts!
Importance though, 70. Like, we don't need the sexual fantasies. Psychology was fine without them. However, psychology appreciates psychoanalysis. Like, I feel like as much as psychoanalytical therapy is like a thing, I haven't been offered it. I've been through the ropes with psychology therapies. Why have I not had psychoanalysis? Or is psychoanalysis just when Cam say, oh my god, the reason you're depressed? Parents divorced. Is that psychoanalysis? What the fuck is that hair? 70, and like, all of that comes from psychoanalysis. The sexual fantasies we don't need. We just don't. Slay, 100 though. I'm sorry. He was fun. He was a fun psychologist. He came up with funny things.
Talented, brilliant, incredible, amazing, show-stopping, spectacular, never the same, totally unique, completely not ever been done before.
I love him. I think he did a really good job. And you know, for that reason, he's going in Barbie Princess and the Pauper. Does that make sense? No. But he was so influential. He was iconic. We can't forget about him. Like, he's everyone's favorite psychologist. We then have Carl Rogers, right?
I hate to say it, I hope I don't sound ridiculous. I don't know who this man is. I mean, he could be walking down the street, I wouldn't know a thing. Sorry to this man.
Does anyone know who this is? We did not learn about him in the IB. I don't remember learning about him in my degree. I barely know him from teaching IB psychology, A-level psychology. He is a humanistic king, I've said, and he founded client-centered therapy. But client-centered therapy is just the one that's like, oh my god, you're not self-actualizing, let's get you to self-actualizing. Do we need that? Is that important? I don't know. Logic 70, because basically, if you're in the realm of humanism, it makes sense logically that like we should help people to self-actualize. But also like, if you're not in the realm of humanism, there's no logic. It's a stupid concept. Influence 40. Who is this man? I don't know who this man is. Importance 20, we didn't need him. I'm sorry, we didn't need him. And then Slay, also 20, because again, did he contribute anything useful? No. And he's going in Lost season finale because of that, because I don't care about him. We then have Anna Freud. Anna Freud was our lesbian queen. She was the baby of the psychodynamic approach. She was basically like, oh my god, maybe the psychodynamic approach should work in like kids. You know what, logic 80 makes a lot of sense. If we've just psychoanalyzed adults, we should probably do the same to kids and it will probably work. Influence 10 though, I'm sorry, I don't know you. If I hear the word Freud, Sigmund. Anna, sorry, who are you? We're not thinking of Anna. Importance 20. Did we need her? Like, we could have reached the same point with someone else. But Slay, 80. And that is because she's a woman in STEM, am I right? And because she was a lesbian queen. I feel like she's partial. Her influence is shocking, her Slay is unmatched, but she's so irrelevant that she does have to go in sparkling water. Like, I don't know who she is. Sorry, girlies. Developmental psychologists. And like, we've just done a module on developmental. I don't know who some of these men are. And they're also all bloody men. So we've got Piaget first. Piaget, he did great. People kind of know Piaget from like his cognitive development theory. He was like, oh, sensory motor, pre-sensory motor, concrete, that one. But also schema. Schema. He made schema. I love schema. Schema is unmatched. Like, most of his ranking is only low because he also did that cognitive development thing which no one cared about. So like logic 50. Most of that comes from schema. Schema is a great job. I love schema.
I love schema.
Influence 60. Here's the thing, right? We don't know him. When we learn about schema, we do not learn that he created this. In the IB, I was asked, like, as a topic test, who created schema? I wrote my boy Piaget because it was him, and my teacher was like, no, it was Bartlett. No, it wasn't. It was Piaget. Put some respect on Piaget's name. So, influence 60, like, schema, unmatched influence, but the cognitive development thing, never heard of it. Importance, again, 60, because, like, we needed schema, we didn't need the cognitive development thing. And then Slay, 50. All 50 of that comes from his schema. Which is why I can only put him in partial Slay, because he let himself down by doing that cognitive development thing. If he'd just done schema, he's Lady Gaga meat dress, at least. Maybe even Princess and the Pauper, because unmatched influence. We then have Vygotsky? I don't know how to pronounce his name.
I hate to say it, I hope I don't sound ridiculous. I don't know who this man is.
He was basically like, Piaget, you're dumb. Childhood development is actually social rather than cognitive. And you know what? Logic 70. He did a good job. It was a better, I think his cognitive development theory was better than Piaget's. Is that controversial? I don't know. But influence 50. Has anyone ever heard of this? Has this influenced anything? Same for importance. Importance 20. I'm sorry, but who has heard of this man? I'm like aware of his name, but I couldn't tell you what he did. I think he did like a zone of proximal influence. I'm sorry, what did he do? He didn't do much, okay? His importance 20, his slay 10. He didn't slay, he was useless, and therefore, lost season finale. We then have John Bowlby. I feel like Bowlby, everyone knows Bowlby. Bowlby is like the Freud of developmental psychology. He is, you know, I've said he's the only relevant attachment person, because he is. He was influenced by other people, he was influenced by like Lorenz and Harlow, but he's the only relevant man, okay? Logic 80, he had so many theories, and like a lot of them made sense, like internal working model, great logic. Social releases, I don't know, that one was a little bit confusing to me. But like maternal deprivation, great job. His only issue was that like his studies weren't very good. I'm sorry John, I'm sorry. Influence 90. We all know Bowlby, right? I feel like the whole like, oh, your childhood attachment style is your adult attachment style makes so much sense, right? We all know of this. There's like the Hazan Shaver love study. I feel like it very much kind of follows on from Freud's psychoanalysis of like psychic determinism, what you experience as a kid affects your future as an adult. It makes sense. I feel like it's a logical thing. It was influential. Importance, I've given an 80, because like some of the theories we didn't need. I feel like maternal deprivation could have maybe been better explained by something else. But overall, very important man. Slay, 40. I feel like he was too logical to have enough slay. And I feel like for that reason, he goes in Lady Gaga meat dress. He tried, he succeeded partially, but not fully. Oh my god, we then have Bandura. Social learning, right? He was like, conditioning, you dumb bitches. That's not good. Observational learning, social learning theory, mediational processes. Logic 80, great job. More logical than fucking conditioning. He was also like, oh my god, maybe your cognition is also an influence. Obviously, great job, girl boss.
Girl, you have done it again. Constantly raising the bar for us all and doing it flawlessly.
Only thing is like, he was basically like, oh, you have to have witnessed something to replicate it. This piece of hair is genuinely gonna make me cry. He was like, you have to have witnessed something to experience, to like do it yourself, but like, how do I witness like justice? How do I replicate justice? Explain that to me, Bandura. Explain that to me. Influence and importance are both at 90. We wouldn't be where we are without our King Bandura, okay? He did such a great job. Like, we've used his theory for like why people develop, you know, mental health problems, and it makes sense. I feel like we all have to know about Bandura. Also, where do we learn about him, right? I feel like we have learned about Bandura in our degree, but we've learned more about behaviorism stuff. Why do we all hate Bandura? I don't know, I'm a Bandura fan page. I've given him a slay of 70. That whole Bobo doll thing, great job, sir. Incredible, loved it.
No, I don't think you understand. I'm obsessed.
Oh my god, is he a social psych? We've moved on to social psychologist. I feel like Bandura, is he Barbie Princess and the Pauper? I'm putting in Barbie and the Princess and the Pauper, for now at least. We've then got Henry Tajfel. Disclaimer, I was looking on his Wikipedia page and apparently he's a sexual predator. Henry Tajfel, why did you do that? So we're ignoring that fact and we're ranking him on his psychology, but also, why would you do that? You know? He does look quite crusty. He basically said, oh, in-group, out-group, social identity theory. Made a lot of sense, right? Logic 80. It makes sense that you would want to fight people not in your group. And it also kind of makes sense that like, you only want to fight them because they're not in your group. Like, if I was just told, like, wars, some people don't know why wars are happening. But like, group 1 is like, oh man, I hate group 2, and group 2 is like, oh man, I hate group 1. Do they know why? No. Henry Tafel. Influence 60. Like, I feel like it's only really influenced like conflict theories, but then also conflict theories I feel like aren't that relevant, because like there are some things in psychology that like apply to everyone. Like Bandura, that social learning, everyone will social learn. However, most of his theories of a conflict resolution for Tafel, oh my god, my camera's overheating. So my camera conveniently started overheating when we were talking about Henry Tafel's sexual predator. Is that a sign? Yeah. So I don't know where I finished, but we're gonna rapid fire. Influence 60, he only influenced conflict theory. Importance 90 though, because his theory makes a lot of sense. Like, he is an important person in psychology. I feel like everyone should know about him, but he didn't have that big an influence. Slay, 50. He wasn't that influential, he wasn't that kind of cool. He was too logical, and for that reason, I think he's gonna go on partial Slay. Also, my camera overheated, so I've had to put the curtain back, so like, it might be darker now. So, we're then gonna do Stanley Milgram. I said Stanley Milgram, he was shocking. It's funny, right? And then I also just said, girlies will obey authority. That was his logic. He was like, oh my god, if someone's in authority, we will hashtag all obey. You know what? Logic 100. It makes a lot of sense. Originality, 0 though. Like, why is it even a theory? Surely we all know this? Influence 90. I feel like everyone knows Milgram. We didn't even have to know Milgram as part of our course for the IB. We learned Milgram. A-level, we learned Milgram. Degree, we learned Milgram. Like, influence, I feel like that's maybe more importance. Basically, influence 90, he was very influential in like knowing why we obey authority and like theories of authority. Importance though, like 60. He's important, but someone else could have done it. Like, I feel like we didn't need him to say his theory for us to know that it was a theory. You know? And then Slay, I've given him a 10, okay? It was beginner, it was unethical, it was boring, and for that reason, I mean, he could be lost season finale. I feel like he's sparkling water only because we all know about him. Otherwise, he'd be lost season finale because I'm not gonna lie, do we care? No. Philip Zimbardo. I don't know why I love Philip Zimbardo. He did the Stanford prison experiment. He is an unethical king. We had to end that experiment because it was problematic. He did a great TED talk as well. He has a book called The Lucifer Effect, which is actually very interesting. Do highly recommend. And just look at how adorable he is. He's so happy to be here. What a psychological genius. Logic 60, okay? It kind of makes sense that we would change ourselves around other people, but why prison? Like, I don't know, I feel like we could have figured that out some other way. And also his logic goes down because he didn't create a good study. Influence 90 though, we all know who Philip Zimbardo is. He's more known for his like Stanford prison experiment than the Lucifer Effect. So like, that's why it's not 100, because like the Lucifer Effect, we don't know. But the Stanford prison experiment, influential. Importance 70, right? I feel like he was important, but we don't need him. Like, I think I probably would have just as good a psychological knowledge if I hadn't learned about him. However, Slay 70, because I really like him, because I think he's really cute. And you know, for that reason, he's a Lady Gaga meat dress, because I love his TED Talks. So, we then have cognitive, and I feel like cognitive psychologists are really relevant. I'm sorry, cognitive psychologists do better. First thing we have is Alan Baddely. And I know it's Baddely and Hitch, but I'm sorry, was Hitch relevant? If you're second in the study, we don't care. like Loftus and Palmer. Loftus is in this, Palmer you're not. I don't care. So here's the king of working memory. He basically, his logic is 80 because he saw the multi-store model and he was like, babe, that's not right. You've not done that good.
Use a bitch.
So he did better. However, it's not a 100 because he didn't do the best. Like, he didn't fix it completely, because what is the central executive? Still to this day, we don't know everything about this model of memory that he came up with yonks ago. So yeah, influence and importance are both 90. We all know baddely. If you study memory, you could probably skip the Atkinson and Schifrin multi-store model and go straight to working, because no one cares about multi-store. We only care about working. Working is important, working is the best. So, like, in memory, we don't learn a better model than the working. We don't go a further step. So is this the best model of memory? Yes, probably. So then, Slay, 50. You know, he tried. Can't say it was that successful. And I feel like he has to go in partial Slay. Because he's not sparkling water, he's not on the same level as, like, those people. But he's not a Lady Gaga meat dress. Is he a Lady Gaga meat dress? Maybe he's a lady... I'm putting him on Lady Gaga meat dress, actually. He is an influential king. He's just a bit boring. Elizabeth Loftus. Women in STEM. I was very surprised when I found out Loftus was a woman, because every psychology study we learn about, men. Where are the women? Let us into STEM, please. She basically did the misinformation effect, leading questions, logic, 90. Of course it makes sense that, like, if someone's going to ask you a question in a specific way, you're going to answer in a specific way. Great thoughts, girl boss. Influence, 100. This is used all over the criminal justice system. Like, we know eyewitness testimony is unreliable, and that's why we did, like, the cognitive interview. Influence, unmatched. Importance, 90. Criminals, stop them from doing crimes. Stop false imprisonment, incredible. And Slay, 80. I think she did good. I think Elizabeth Loftus is an icon. I feel like, though, is she? I don't know if she's Barbie Princess and the Pauper tier. No, she is Barbie Princess and the Pauper tier. Don't question yourself. She's Princess and the Pauper, okay? We then have Daniel Kahneman. No one knows who this man is.
Wait a minute! Who are you?
I only learned about him in the IB when we did System 1 and System 2 thinking. System 1 is like fast, you're gonna make mistakes. System 2 is like slow processing. Okay, does anyone care? No. Logic is 90 though, right? It makes sense that we have kind of two different processing systems in our brain, but like, just, right? It makes sense that we have kind of two different processing systems in our brain, but like, just two? Why not three? You know? Also, Daniel Kahneman wrote a really good book. If you're going to psychology to uni, if you're going to uni to do psychology, I feel like the Thinking Fast, Thinking Slow book is the first thing that comes up when it's like, you should read a book for uni. It's not really gonna help you. But I think it was a good book. I prefer Zimbardo's The Lucifer Effect though, because Team Zimbardo, I prefer social psychologists. So influence though, 40, right? Did he influence anything? He kind of influenced us learning about like biases and like cognitive biases, but like, I felt like we could have got there even without the System 1 thinking, you know? And importance, 20. Does anyone know who this man is? Did we learn about him in language and memory? No. Did I learn about him in A-level? No. Did I learn about him in my degree? No. I learned about him in one part of the IB. Irrelevant. Slay, 20. He didn't try. Like, he's the lost season finale. We didn't need him. He didn't do that good. So, this video is gonna end up being a fucking hour long, but let's go through the ranking. We'll start from the bottom. Bottom, we have Lev Vygotsky, Carl Rogers, and Kahneman. We don't care. I could say, if you hadn't watched this video, would you even know they were psychologists? No, probably not. Sparkling water, we then have Ian Pavlov, Anna Freud, and Stanley Milgram. Like, they made contributions, but like, they didn't make that many. So partial slave, we've got Skinner, Piaget and Tafel. Kind of relevant people, but like, they've let themselves down. Lady Gaga meat dresses our most populated tier. We have Wundt, Beck, Bowlby, Zimbardo and Baddely. And then Barbie Princess and the Pauper, our holy trinity, Freud, Bandura and Loftus.
What do you say you and I reunite a little threesome called the unholy trinity?
My camera's overheating again. Thanks for watching, girlies. I hope you loved it. I liked filming this. If you have any more psychologists I should rank, let me know, girl bosses. I will probably not do them a justice. Do them an injustice? I'll do them an injustice. I really enjoyed this video. Hopefully it wasn't too long, hopefully it wasn't too stressful, but yeah, thanks for watching and I'll see you in whatever my next video is.
This is also my formal apology to King Philip. I still love you. But be more ethical.